Today is the day. For weeks, the world has been watching a countdown clock tick toward a moment that could change the Middle East, and the global economy, forever. Tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, President Donald Trump's final deadline for Iran expires. Either the Strait of Hormuz reopens, or Trump has promised to unleash what he called Power Plant Day and Bridge Day across Iran. This is not a drill. The strike plans are reportedly ready to execute. The diplomats are in emergency mode. And right now, as you watch this, negotiations are happening in real time through Pakistan, Qatar, Egypt, and Oman, with the entire world holding its breath. Here is everything you need to know, right now, on deadline day. Let's start with Trump's own words, because they have been extraordinary, even by the standards of this conflict. On Sunday, Trump posted on Truth Social, Tuesday will be Power Plant Day, and Bridge Day, all wrapped up in one, in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the Strait, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell, just watch. He then went further at the White House press conference on Monday. Trump warned that the U.S. military is prepared to destroy bridges and power plants across Iran if the strait remains closed past his deadline. Strikes, he said, could render key infrastructure unusable for 100 years. Trump has specifically warned of the complete demolition of Iran's power plants and bridges in a matter of hours if the Strait of Hormuz is not fully reopened by Tuesday's deadline. And when a reporter asked him directly if he was concerned this could constitute a war crime, Trump retorted, "I'm not worried about it." He continued, "You know the war crime. The war crime is allowing Iran to have a nuclear weapon." When asked if he was winding down the war or escalating it, Trump said simply, "I don't know. It depends what they do." 4 words. The most powerful man in the world, and even he doesn't know what happens next. Here is where things get complicated, because even as Trump is threatening to flatten Iranian infrastructure, a furious diplomatic race is underway simultaneously. Iran conveyed a 10-point response to U.S. proposals through Pakistan, rejecting a temporary ceasefire and demanding a permanent end to hostilities. The response, described as the product of 2 weeks of review at the highest levels of the Iranian government, included conditions such as a permanent end to conflicts across the region, a safe passage protocol for the Strait of Hormuz, reconstruction commitments, and the lifting of sanctions. Meanwhile, countries working to end the Iran war drafted a proposal calling for a 45-day ceasefire and the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. Pakistan's Army Chief Field Marshal Asim Munir was in contact through the night with U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance, Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, and Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi. Talks have also been conducted through direct text messages between Witkoff and Araghchi. But the White House made its position clear. A White House official said, "This is one of many ideas, and POTUS has not signed off on it." Operation Epic Fury continues. Trump himself described the Iranian proposal as a significant step, but not good enough, and said he was highly unlikely to postpone the deadline. The gap between significant step and not good enough may be the most consequential few inches in global diplomacy right now. While negotiators scramble, Iran's military sent its own unmistakable message overnight. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Naval Command posted on X that the Strait of Hormuz will never return to its former state, especially for America and Israel. Read that again. Never. Not after the war. Not after a deal. Never, at least not on pre-war terms. And the threat is expanding beyond Hormuz. Ali Akbar Velayati, an advisor to Iran's supreme leader, warned that Iran may target the Bab al-Mandeb Strait, the vital passage connecting the Red Sea to the Gulf of Aden and Arabian Sea. He said Iran's regime views Bab al-Mandab with the same intensity as Hormuz, adding that the flow of energy and global trade can be disrupted with a single signal. The closure of the Strait of Hormuz has already been described as the largest disruption to global energy supply since the 1970s oil crisis, and the largest in the history of the global oil market. If Bab al-Mandeb falls too, the consequences for the world economy would be almost impossible to calculate. Perhaps the most alarming subplot of Deadline Day is the growing crisis at Iran's Bushehr nuclear power plant, and what one stray missile near it could mean for the entire region. The IAEA said Monday that ongoing military activity near Iran's Bushehr nuclear power plant could cause a severe radiological accident, with potential consequences beyond Iran's borders. The plant has been targeted 4 times since the war began. IAEA Director General Rafael Grossi warned that strikes near Bushehr, which has large amounts of nuclear fuel, pose a very real danger, stating, a nuclear facility and surrounding areas should never be struck. Iran's head of atomic energy accused the IAEA of failing to respond forcefully enough, calling U.S. Israeli strikes on Bushehr a blatant war crime, and warning that continued attacks on an active reactor risk the widespread release of radioactive materials, with consequences he described as irreparable for civilians and the environment. The Red Cross has also weighed in. ICRC President Mirjana Spoljaric warned that threats against civilian infrastructure cannot become the new norm in warfare, saying they are indefensible, inhumane and devastating for entire populations. A nuclear accident at Bushehr would make the entire debate about power plants and bridges completely irrelevant. The region, and possibly beyond, could face a catastrophe that no military or diplomatic solution can undo. While the diplomats talk and the deadlines loom, the war is actively killing people. Let's look at what happened on the ground in the last 24 hours. At least 19 people were killed and 20 injured in U.S. and Israeli airstrikes near Tehran on Monday. The districts of Shahryar and Baharistan were hit, with 2 residential buildings destroyed, and several bodies were recovered from rubble. 4 people were killed by an Iranian missile attack in Israel, with a strike confirmed in the vicinity of Haifa. Fires broke out at the South Pars petrochemical complex in Asaluya, one of Iran's most critical industrial sites. Israel's defense minister said the plant was responsible for about 50% of Iran's petrochemical production. Several explosions were heard, and power to facilities in the area went offline. Kuwait, the UAE, and Saudi Arabia all activated their air defense systems overnight to intercept incoming Iranian missiles and drones. An Iranian drone strike on Ali al-Salem Air Base in Kuwait injured 15 Americans overnight. Most have returned to duty. And in what would be a massive escalation if confirmed, Iranian state media reported that IRGC forces struck a U.S. amphibious assault ship and helicopter carrier, claiming it was forced to retreat deep into the southern Indian Ocean. The U.S. has not publicly confirmed or denied the claim. This war has no front line. Every capital in the region is a target. There is one question underneath all of this that never gets answered directly: what does Trump actually want out of this war? He has given us pieces. Asked by reporters about why the war matters, Trump said, "They're foolish because the war's about one thing: Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. But the Hormuz demand points to something else entirely." Trump has been clear that any deal must ensure the free traffic of oil through the strait. Trump also told Axios, "There is a good chance, but if they don't make a deal, I am blowing up everything over there." An operational plan for a massive U.S.-Israeli strike on Iranian energy infrastructure is reportedly ready to execute. 2 rescued American airmen, the colonel and his pilot, are now reportedly receiving treatment at Landstuhl Regional Medical Center in Germany. The rescue mission, Trump said, used 155 aircraft. And yet, the war continues. Analysts have warned that Trump's repeated extensions of the deadline risk weakening the credibility of his threats, that each time he extends and doesn't strike, Iran calculates he won't strike the next time either. Tonight at 8 p.m., that calculation gets tested for real. Whatever happens tonight, the world economy is already paying the price. The price of U.S. crude oil jumped from $112 to about $114 per barrel during Trump's Monday press conference alone. Brent crude oil prices surpassed $100 per barrel on March 8 for the first time in 4 years, rising to $126 per barrel at its peak. A leading energy analyst warned Monday that global fuel prices are unlikely to fall even if the US and Iran agree to a ceasefire. Because it would take several months to repair oil refineries and other energy infrastructure damaged in the conflict, and shipping companies that operate oil tankers in the region would also need at least 2 months to resume normal operations. Iran has kept nearly all of its population cut off from the internet since the war began on February 28, the longest nationwide internet shutdown on record, according to NetBlocks. Most Iranians can't receive warnings about where U.S. and Israeli airstrikes will hit. Many are cut off from the global economy and from family living abroad. The human cost of this war, on both sides, is staggering. And it is accelerating. Here is what you need to watch for in the next few hours. At 8 p.m. Eastern, Trump's self-described final deadline expires. Does he strike? Does he extend again? Or does a deal, brokered through Pakistan or Qatar, come through at the last minute? Watch for movement on the Strait of Hormuz. If Iran begins quietly granting passage to neutral ships, that may be enough of a signal for Trump to pause. Watch for the 45-day ceasefire proposal. Mediators are still pushing it even as Iran officially rejected it through IRGC. And watch the oil markets. They are the world's most honest real-time barometer of whether traders believe a deal is coming, or whether strikes are imminent. The coming hours may be the most consequential of this entire 6-week conflict. We will be covering every development as it happens. If this breakdown was useful to you, please hit the like button and subscribe. Every notification you turn on means you won't miss a single update on the most important story in the world right now. Stay informed. Stay safe. We'll see you the moment anything changes.